If you can't decide if you should get this, the original Hydrow, or this, the new Hydrow Wave, then this video will really help you decide. The original Hydrow is $2,495, with the new Hydrow Wave being $1,695, making this rower nearly 50% more expensive than this one. So if it's nearly 50% more expensive, is it 50% better? Let's find out. Just in case this is a long video, I'll put it into chapters, and that way you can watch the chapters that are most relevant to you, but make sure you watch the price comparison chapter, because the price difference between these two rowers might not be quite as big as you think. And in addition to that, I've got a little something that will bring the price of these rowers even closer together. Let's get cracking. So the first thing I want to talk about is getting fitter. So if you use the original Hydrow, you will get fitter and stronger. If you use the Hydrow Wave, you're going to get fitter and stronger. I recently got this, my 100,000 meter rowing water bottle from Hydrow, and I can honestly say, I believe whichever rower you use, you will get equally as fit. It won't make a difference. The content is exactly the same on both rowers, and I've loved rowing with these professional athletes on the water. Well, they're on the water, I'm here. And even after, well, nearly a year now, I'm just as enthusiastic about using these rowers as I was when I first got them. One area where there is a big difference though is screen rotation. You can see on the left that the Hydrow Wave screen is fixed, and on the right you've got the original Hydrow, and that screen turns and tilts, so if you're doing a yoga workout next to the rower, you've got a much better viewing angle. This may not be the deal breaker you think it is though, because you can always use the app to screencast to a nearby television. Let's look at the screen size and picture quality. These rowers aren't light, so feel free to like the video. I'll put the camera right in the middle of the rail, so this is the midpoint of your rowing stroke. So here they are side by side. They're both 1080p screens. Let me show you this though. I think the Wave is slightly quicker. So I've done this a few times now. I'm going to start the row at the same time. There, the Wave, it's just really, it's barely perceptible, isn't it? But the Wave seems to jump into the rowers a bit quicker than the original Hydrow. Obviously, the screen on the original Hydrow is noticeably bigger. The only time I really notice it is if I'm kind of at the back of my stroke. It's perhaps a little bit harder to see the writing on this one than it is on the original Hydrow. I don't know whether it's a setting, but I think the contrast looks better, and I don't know how well this will come across. Looks slightly better on the Hydrow Wave. One thing that might not come across that well is that the screen size for each rower suits a rower. It's not obvious, but they're quite different in size. Let me show you where the wheels are on the Wave. You can see they're behind. And if I show you where the feet are on the Wave, you can see that the original Hydrow is longer. So when you're on either rower, neither screen feels too small or too big. At the start of this video, I said that the Hydrow, the original Hydrow, was nearly 50% more expensive than the Hydrow Wave, which, when you look at the website, it is. But these are connected fitness rowers. So there's also another cost to consider, and that's the subscription, which is $38 a month. So, and you need to decide how long you're going to keep these rowers, or at least have an idea. Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? If we look at 4 years of ownership for these rowers, let me just give you the figures. So the subscription cost over 4 years, which is $38 a month, times 48 is, I've forgotten it again, this is about the fifth take. So it's $1,824. I'll edit that out somehow, you won't know, it'll be seamless. So with either rower, you've got $1,824 or dollars to pay in subscription over 4 years of ownership. And then when you add that to the cost of the rower, that means that the Hydrow Wave is around $3,500 in dollars, and the Hydrow, the original Hydrow, is about $4,300. So that means in reality, over the cost of 4 years of owning it, the original Hydrow is only about 25% more expensive than the Hydrow Wave. I hope all this makes sense. In addition to this, I've got something very exciting to share. If you decide to buy either rower, then I will put a link in the description and also on the pinned comment. If you use that link, it will take you to the best price on Hydrow's website, and it also helps support the channel. So thank you very much. It is appreciated. At the moment, Hydrow have got an offer on, and there's 2 key dates to remember. So the first date is the 24th of October 2022. So if you're watching this video before then, if you buy either rower, you will get their on the mat kit, and it contains a workout mat, it contains yoga blocks, it contains 7 bands, and these will be really good for when the bootcamp workouts start later in the year. Currently, to buy this on the mat kit, it's £150 or $180, but you will get these for free when you buy either rower up to the 24th of October. The second important date is the 8th of November 2022, especially if you're leaning towards this, the original Hydrow. Hydrow have very kindly given me a discount code, which is my name, Steve, and 100, so Steve 100. That will give you £100 or dollars off the cost of the Hydrow, the original Hydrow, and it's stackable with the on the mat offer, so you'll get both things, both benefits. Thank you, Hydrow, for letting me share that code, and I'm not working out the 4-year thing again with the 100. When it comes to how they look, I know beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I think the original Hydrow has got a really good look about it. I kind of feel like it looks like it was designed by maybe Porsche or Apple or some other German car brand. And I think the Hydrow Wave looks equally as good, just different. More of a kind of Dark Knight, Batman type feel about it. And whereas the original Hydrow will dominate any space it's in, I think that the Wave will just blend in a lot better, especially with those see-through parts. Comparing the size and the weight of these machines, you can see that the original Hydrow is taller. It's also 8 inches longer, which might not be obvious, and it weighs around 45 pounds more than the Hydrow Wave. And that height and weight difference becomes really apparent if you're trying to move these around. So not only does the Wave get onto its wheels at a much lower angle or a slightly lower angle, it's also much easier to work with if you're maneuvering it around in your space. If you're going to stand this up, then you will need the Hydrow anchor kit. Counterintuitively, the anchor kit for the Wave is more expensive than it is for the original Hydrow. Original Hydrow, I'll show you why, for me anyway, is a lot less portable. So there isn't a handle here to pick it up, so you have to come down to the feet. It comes onto its wheels slightly higher, and I'm going to show you this. Now I'm 6'3", or might be 5'7.5". Can't remember. But when you stand this up, you can see what happens to me. So if you're under 5'7.5", then it just gets a bit tall when you're just pivoting it up like that. Let's look at a really important aspect, which is how they feel to row. One thing that is impressive is that both rowers have exactly the same length rail, which is especially handy if you're a taller rower. The seat height on the Wave is lower than the seat height on the original Hydrow. The foot plates on the Wave are slightly lower, which complements the seat being slightly lower. Both rowers use electromagnetic resistance, and I can say that it is very, very good. These rowers do feel different to row though. So when I've ridden a Peloton bike and a Peloton Bike Plus, with your eyes shut, you can't actually tell which bike you're on. They both feel identical to ride. These feel different. So with the Wave, it's very smooth, but if I really concentrate, there is like a little bit of, not lumpiness, but when I pull back, I can certainly feel it's not as smooth as the original Hydrow, but it feels great still. This rower, this sounds different, doesn't it? The rollers on the seat are better. And when I say better, I don't mean that the Hydrow's bad, the Hydrow Wave's bad. The Hydrow Wave is very good. It's just that this is a more expensive rower and it feels like a more expensive rower. The resistance as well is really smooth. Both rowers share the same really high quality seat. So when it comes to rowing seats, these are by far the most comfortable rowing seats I've used. They do sound slightly different. So when I'm rowing on the original Hydrow, I can't hear this seat over my headphones. But when I'm rowing on the Wave, I can just about hear it over my headphones. The Wave actually, I think, is quieter than the original Hydrow. And if you're a Star Trek fan, tell me this isn't shuttle bay doors. The original Hydrow is slightly louder than the Wave. I can't think of a sound for that. What do you think that sounds like? For the foot plates, I think the foot plates on the Wave actually look better than the original Hydrow. They've also got a single strap, whereas the Hydrow's got 2 holes. One thing I did notice though is the adjuster strap isn't as good as the ones on the original Hydrow. There's no difference in how they hold your feet in, it's just I find the original Hydrow ones just a little bit nicer to use. For me, I like the way the rail looks on the original Hydrow better. So here you've got an exposed rail, but on the original Hydrow, it's in there, and then you've got the 10 rollers that run along it. I originally thought that both Hydrows share the same handle, but they don't. There's slight differences. If you look at the Wave, that's rounded at the end, and then the Hydrow, the original Hydrow, is more squared off. And when if you buy one of these, have a look on the website to make sure it's the same, because the feel on the Hydrow Wave has got a more rubberized kind of feel to it, which I actually find better than the original Hydrow. I don't know how easy it is to describe or see the differences, but this, if your hands are sweating, this one works better. And I wonder if that's because my original Hydrow is nearly a year old. Maybe they've evolved the handle over time, or is it just that the Wave handle is just a slightly better feeling handle? They're both exactly the same shape and roundness when you hold them, but it's just got a nicer coating on it. In conclusion, both of these rowers are excellent rowers, especially at their price points compared to their direct competitors. I've thought that coming onto the Hydrow Wave, because I got this after I got the original Hydrow, that it might feel like a step down, but it doesn't. It's a really good rower to use. I would say, and I said this in my Hydrow Wave review, if these were 2 BMWs, the difference would be, this would be a 5 Series and this would be a 3 Series. So same brand, same great quality of product, it's just one is more premium than the other, which feels premium anyway. I'm fortunate enough to have both Hydrows here, but if I was going to pick one, if cost and space weren't an issue, then I would lean towards the original Hydrow. If it was in my house and had a medium-sized house or a flat, and I wanted to save some money, then I think that the Hydrow Wave might be a better choice if you've got a smaller place. Certainly if it's going in a smaller place, then the Hydrow Wave might be the better option for you. So let me know which one you would go for. I'm genuinely interested to find out. If you want to know more about the original Hydrow, then just click here. If you want to watch more of my Hydrow Wave videos, then just click here. Until next time, see you soon.